Hello, my name is Lee Presser. This is my show. I speak frequently to very interesting people. Some of these conversations are so exciting, so intellectually stimulating, I thought others might like to listen in. This is the reason we started recording Conversation with Lee Presser.
Welcome to Conversation with Lee Presser. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Alton, Illinois became a center of heavy industry and manufacturing. Laclede Steel, Owens-Illinois Glass Bottle Works, Alton Box Board Company, and many other companies were located there. But when industry fled the Rust Belt in the 1970s, Alton was forced to create a new future. Alton became a popular tourist and antique destination. An Argosy Casino is located there. Alton built a $4.4 million amphitheater. There are facilities for corporate and vacation retreats. Here to talk about Alton and its future is the new mayor, Brant Walker. Mr. Walker took office on May the 8th, 2013. Mayor Walker is the son of a union organizer and a public school employee. He has had a successful sales career and until his election as a write-in candidate operated Strategic Search Services, a full-service employment agency in Alton. Mayor Brant Walker, welcome to Conversation.
Good morning, Lee. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad that you could come.
My pleasure.
I said here in the intro that, you know, up until you became mayor, you were with this company, or
Yes.
you were the owner of this company. Is that company on hold, or is it still operational?
As of August 30th, I made my last payroll and I sold it to another employment agency. I sold it to a Snelling office.
So that's it. You're the mayor, and that's what you do.
Well, I have some property still in Alton. I own quite a few properties in Alton that I still maintain. I did keep my property portion of the business, but I did sell the employment side of the business.
Mm-hmm. We were talking before this about the interesting way in which you became the mayor. You actually had signed up the correct way.
Yes.
Did the petitions.
Correct.
And filed your petitions.
Mm-hmm. Was on the ballot.
And you were on the ballot. And then tell your
Unceremoniously
story.
taken off the ballot.
Because?
There was a house behind my office building. There was some billing confusion.
You owned this house.
Yeah, I own the
Yes,
property.
okay,
I run
go
it.
ahead.
Actually, part of my business and one of the reasons I decided to live in Alton some 20 years ago is because I like restoring properties.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I own any property in Alton that doesn't predate 1900, so I'm a glutton for punishment. But the property behind my home was actually the folks that have been living there have been there about 6 years now. In the confusion, bringing sewer and trash billings back to the city of Alton from Illinois Water, there was some confusion in the billing system. The city showed on one of their statements there was no money due and owing. I called the city and asked if I owed any money in any properties. I was told no. I had documentation from the city that on a bill that I didn't owe any money.
Why does this matter to your running for mayor?
There's an ordinance in the city that says you can't owe the city any money and run for public office or be on the ballot.
So that was an important issue then.
That was an important issue.
Okay.
The billing coming back from Illinois American Water, their billing said that the tenants behind me, and the bill wasn't in my name, owed $34.70. Not a lot of money.
How's that your responsibility if it's not in your name?
There's an ordinance in the city that says that you are responsible for property owned, even though the bill may or may not be in your name.
Okay.
So I believe there is actually, the state recently changed that. You have to now not owe the city and before you're sworn in as opposed to when you register. So they've actually made evidently some state changes to prevent this from happening in the future.
Okay.
So I was thrown off the ballot, and then the campaign became...
When you say you're thrown off, this was a judge probably made this decision, right?
No, the electoral board who was appointed by the previous mayor threw me off the ballot. And then Madison County did uphold that finding by the...
Madison County, the
Yes.
courts?
Upheld it, yes.
Okay. So there you are. You were going to be running for mayor. Now you're just a regular citizen again.
Well, we were still running for mayor. We filed our paperwork to be a write-in candidate, and then off we went, as you said, as an interesting campaign. Mm-hmm. And we definitely hustled. If you want to look at the true definition of a grassroots campaign, we had it. There were approximately, and I'm going to be off maybe a little bit, about 12,000 houses, give or take, in Alton. We had 26,000 pieces of door literature printed. At the end of the campaign, we had less than 2,000. We covered the entire city twice in about a 4-month period. I had a group of folks that you would not believe that were there probably for 4 months, every Saturday and Sunday, out and about walking. Even after the election, when we had won, I got calls the next Saturday. They're like, "What do? We don't know what to do." So, because I mean, that group
take a rest.
Yeah, they did. Well, they became such good friends that some of the folks during the campaign didn't know each other, but over a 4-month period, they had worked together and still maintain those friendships right now that they'd met during the campaign. So it was a tremendous opportunity and a ton of support. My understanding is I am the first write-in candidate in the state of Illinois to upset an incumbent mayor. It's never happened before. So it was quite an effort, and this one I can definitely say I couldn't have done it by myself. My campaign manager was brilliant. The folks that helped us were just phenomenal, the amount of work we put in to get this done.
Was the election close, or was?
I won by 74 votes.
So it was very close.
It was very close. It was a very tough battle.
Well, this program's going to air in Alton, but it's going to air all the way from Alton all the way down to Belleville and many other places, away from the river. So people don't necessarily know about your campaign, which is why I wanted you to get that information out.
Thank you.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of what just happened in Madison County with another grassroots organization that was upset the apple cart with a petition drive that's now forcing a ballot issue on jail bonds.
Oh yeah, I saw that. It's actually going to a vote now.
Yeah. So I mean, apparently people throughout Metro East are pretty active in their government.
Can give you faith that sometimes the system does work if you work hard enough at it. It can work.
So let's go back to the beginning. Why did you want to be mayor in the first place?
After living in Alton, and my daughter's in high school right now, and coming back to the area, it basically boils down to I just think we can do better. When we looked at it, I think we can deal with issues on our housing stock in Alton better than we've been dealing with them. I believe our economic development needs to have a different set of eyes looking at the same old problems. So I just thought Alton could be a better place than it currently finds itself. Our crime index was the highest in the Riverbend area. Our unemployment rate was the highest in the Riverbend area. And clearly, in my opinion, what we were doing wasn't working. So I would like to give it another shot. And I was hoping with my 20 years of business development experience and actually running a business in Alton, which my best year of operating that company had over 300 employees, might be able to assist in getting our unemployment down and also look at how we police the city, maybe get our crime index down as well.
So you're 6 months into your term, is that correct?
Correct.
And, well, here's a self-serving question. How you doing?
I think we're doing well. I'm pretty pleased. I love the job. I'm excited about getting up every morning. Some of the things we've implemented already are already starting to take place. I think already currently right now in Alton, just this year alone, we have almost $20 million of people expanding in Alton.
What do you mean? New businesses you're referring to?
New businesses, and also people that are investing back into the community, because the key is going to be get the folks that are here, keep them here, and then grow from there. So we've got $20 million worth of expansion or reinvestment back into our community from our existing businesses that are here.
Now, you mentioned housing stock. You also mentioned early on that you're the kind of guy that likes to take an old house, tinker with it, and make it and improve it.
I believe in restoration and preserving our history.
Right. So when you were talking about housing stock, is that what you're talking about, is to have that done on a larger scale to improve the housing stock in Alton?
Yes, I would like to see Alton go more towards a home ownership as opposed to the present state we find ourselves, which may be upwards of over 50% rental as opposed to home ownership in our city.
Oh, that does make a big difference.
It makes a big difference.
People who own their own homes tend to take better care of them, don't they?
Yeah, correct. And I believe with the deep history that Alton has and the fantastic architecture we have in Alton, that if we get the perception change of Alton, that I think people would love to live there, because it is a tremendous city to live in. It's absolutely beautiful.
Now, and you're right. It is a very, very beautiful area, and anybody who has come to the area who hasn't been there before and gone from Alton up to Grafton, they know that it's a really lovely vista. But as I stated in the introduction, Alton used to have a lot of employment and therefore collected a lot of taxes and was able to do a lot more for its community when it had all this business activity going on. That's long since passed. What Are you going to be working on the idea of bringing high quality businesses back into Alton?
Yeah, we have to do, again, Alton didn't do the best job of changing to the decline of major manufacturing in the 21st century. And that's not an Illinois problem or an Alton problem. That's been the Rust Belt problem. It's also, particularly in this country, we've lost a lot of manufacturing. I think if we just had a better vision of what Alton was or defined what Alton should have been, we could have redefined and targeted our business development towards areas like, say, our dental school, SIUE Dental School, just did a $9.5 million addition for a lab at the school. Those are all very good jobs. Just the economic impact on salaries from that educational institution is in the tens of millions of dollars just in salaries. Most of those folks that work there live in the Riverbend area. The students, which are approximately 200 students, bring another 3.2 minimum to almost $3.5 million of direct economic impact into our city. So maybe, and also Alton's a great destination with our history, with our architecture, with our dining, with our entertainment. Maybe Alton should have switched gears a little bit more and focused maybe on our high-tech jobs like dental schools, like research facilities, and also put more money and investment into making Alton more of a tourist area or destination area for the community or for the surrounding area.
Are you planning on taking another look at the comprehensive plan of Alton?
We have mentioned that, and I think you will see that in this administration, to take a look at what we had and also do another comprehensive plan for the city, yes.
And have you started making contact with those who are capable of funding high-tech businesses?
I wouldn't say we've made contact with the high-tech businesses, but on the destination portion with our park boards and our amphitheater boards, we put out the amphitheater for bid, and we're looking more for national acts and more of an entertainment venue down at the amphitheater as opposed to just cover bands and weddings. So we're already starting to look towards, with the multimodal or the high-speed rail coming to Alton, which is going to happen in probably 24 months to completion, as Alton heads towards a hotel and conference center down on the riverfront, as we start to upgrade our entertainment venue down there, not just the bands, but there are other forms of entertainment we can have on the riverfront. We're already starting to push Alton more towards a regional, if not a national destination stop.
Last June, shortly after you became the mayor, didn't the river kind of rise on you?
Twice. First day I went in, we had the first flood, which we handled very easily. 3 weeks in, and including also going through a tight budget, we had the 5th largest flood in Alton history, which was interesting. 3 floods in 2 weeks. I told Dan, my chief of staff, I said, if the locusts show up, we abdicate. So it was quite a venue. I mean, it was the first time that the casino had ever closed. It was the first time we had to evacuate the marina. It was quite an effort, but it actually worked out pretty well for us. It got an opportunity for all the departments to work together. I also got an opportunity to work with IDOT, MoDOT, West Alton, our Park and Rec department, our sewer department, our Public Works department. It brought the whole city together. Madison County chipped in, so we were working with county departments. We worked with multiple state departments on when the levees broke in West Alton. And we worked with basically every department in the city to keep the downtown area from going under and keeping all our roads open so that people could access our city. So it was a tough time, but it was also a very good time for us to get to work with everybody.
Has anybody have any ideas? I mean, is there any way to prevent that? Let me back up and say, I was standing in Alton in 1993.
Oh man!
Right there near where what you now have is the where the statue is of the Lincoln Douglas debates, and walked away to do some sandbagging. A couple hours, came back, and that whole area was already underwater. Yeah. And was there, and saw it when it went up to the line, which is marked on that. Is it still Peevely Mill?
ConAgra owns it.
ConAgra now. Yeah. Then it was Peevely Mill, and so they got this red line that's right there where the water came up to. Now the question is, can anything be done about that for the future? Is there any real talk about that, or this is just Alton has to put up with this every decade or so?
I think the river's going to do what it does. If we can talk to the Mississippian and get her to change her mind, I think we're River City. The river's going to come up. It's going to go down. Alton's been resilient. It will continue to be resilient. So it's just part of being on the river and enjoying the beauty. It's something we're just going to have to put up with, and thank goodness we have that river.
Mm-hmm. So let's see, you said a couple of interesting things here, that you're actually trying to book some national acts into the amphitheater.
We're actually working with our amphitheater department and our park board right now to maybe step up.
For the 2014 time? Or?
We're not sure. If not this year, we're going to try to. We're trying to step up basically step up our game at the amphitheater to bring more folks into town, which would bring more tourism dollars, which would keep the cash registers ringing in Alton, which in turn helps the city.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I guess I should have asked, are you a 2 or 4 year term?
4.
A 4-year term. So you got plenty of time to work on this.
About 3.5 years.
Yeah, yeah. How do you like it?
I love it. I wake up every morning, I'm excited about what we're doing. A lot of the our economic development and housing department is bustling right now. Some of the things we're talking about with addressing some of our housing issues, working with the police department on how we police the city. It's just been, it's very exciting. I enjoy the job tremendously.
Alton's, I mean, this program is uploaded to YouTube, and there may be people who are watching us right here on YouTube, and they might live in big cities somewhere outside of this region. And they're thinking like, oh, yeah, 29,000 people,
yeah,
a teeny little town. But this teeny little town of yours has quite a history, doesn't it?
Packed with history.
Why don't you just, when I was doing some reading, among all the history, that it also said maybe the most haunted town.
Most haunted city, yeah.
What is all that? Let's just get that cleared up. What is that all about?
I'm not an expert on haunting, although I've owned quite a bit of property that you think will be haunted. I haven't seen a ghost yet, but I'm looking forward to seeing one. But with the Mineral Springs Mine and some of the things that happened there was a death there. The Mineral Springs Mine is haunted, the McPike Mansion. I believe a lot of the hauntings go back to even the Civil War, because we had a Civil War prison there. We have a couple of several Civil War cemeteries, not only in Alton, but also in West Alton. Which particularly at the prison, there were a lot of suffering and death that happened there. They believe that a lot of that has stayed in the Alton area. So if you watch the Discovery Channel and some of the other channels on cable access, you'll see quite a bit of Alton during, particularly around the Halloween time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you got some haunted sites for tourists to come and see.
Correct.
Right.
Quite a few. There are haunted tours. There's I might get this wrong, but there's a torture museum in Alton. Different torture devices that have been used throughout the years. There are walking tours, bus tours. In our cemeteries, we have vintage voices, which are not only for haunted, but some of the significant people that lived in the Alton area. Miles Davis was born in Alton.
Remind young people who may not know that name.
Miles Davis is the premier jazz musician and trumpet player that's ever lived. Redefined jazz as we know it today.
And he grew up there?
Was born in Alton and lived in Alton approximately a year before he grew up in East Alton. Mm-hmm. The Alton Giant, the tallest man in the world, is from Alton.
Yeah, talk about that real quick, because again, that's old history. A lot of young people don't know what that is.
Robert Wadlow was born and lived in Alton and was still rated as the tallest man that has ever lived.
He was like just shy of 12 foot tall. I think it was like, what was he, 11 foot, 11 and 1/8, something like that.
Sounds about right. Yeah. The Piasaw Bird.
Yeah, what is this Piasaw Bird thing?
That was founded by a Catholic, I think it was Monsignor or Priest Marquette. When he first came here, when he was here, it was something that the Indians had painted on the cliffs going between Alton and Grafton as we know it today, and I believe it was a man-eating bird, reptile, mammal, which you can still see has been replicated on the wall. It's tremendous. Mm-hmm. Alton has one of the highest rated marinas on the river. You mentioned the Lincoln Douglas Square. Lincoln had 2 Senate debates in Alton. Alton still holds.
This was 1850, the election of 1858, not
when he ran for president.
Not when he ran for president.
That's correct. He had 2 Senate debates in the Alton area.
Douglas won, though. He won the election, not the debate.
Correct. So yeah, but
that's a really historical place right there. So people who want to get pictures, you've got an area that you've defined with statues.
Yeah, and also we have the Lovejoy Monument. Lovejoy is actually an abolitionist that came from Missouri who was against slavery. Put up a printing press. some folks came over and tore his printing press up, throw it in the river, and actually killed him. We actually have the first claim to the first death in the Civil War happened in Alton. It's for folks standing up for freedom and freedom of, not only for freedom of people, but also freedom of press and freedom of speech in our city.
And let's see, Alton has, but then again, there was this huge manufacturing history there. And what you were talking about that earlier. What happened? Why did Alton go from this strong, very strong position of business and manufacturing to where it barely exists anymore?
We have still some manufacturing. Alton Steel is alive and well. It wasn't just, again, the Alton area. It was the decline of major manufacturing in the United States in the 21st century. There became more of a world stage. There are places to get, I guess, basically cheaper labor, and companies just were no longer committed to certain areas because they were here and they went where they could get things done for a lot less, which I think is very unfortunate, because I don't think you'll find the caliber of talent and skill sets that they left, and hopefully they'll start recognizing that, and we change some things in the way the states operate, that we will start getting some manufacturing back, not only in Alton, but throughout the Midwest and throughout this country.
Yeah, we've had discussions here about manufacturing before. I mean, SIU has a very large area that they, is working on bringing businesses into the area. The engineering school has an area of advanced techniques, and I just don't understand why we haven't seen more of a push. It sounds like Alton is going to be getting into that business of pushing to get jobs from overseas to move back here.
I wouldn't say jobs from overseas, but we do have a great, the state helps us out with leads. We've actually done Imperial Manufacturing is Alton, and they're doing well. Alton Steel is doing very well and growing. So Alton is a place where you can manufacture and you can make a profit. So again, I believe a lot of it is perception, and if people come to look, or as we reach out to folks, I think you'll find us to be very competitive. Again, in anything the city can do to help you get here, I'm sure we'll get help from the state for manufacturing. And again, too, our labor force in Alton is very skilled and very dedicated. We have a very, very good workforce in Alton. Plus, we have rail. We have the infrastructure. You name it. We have rail. We're close to the airport. We're right on the river. There is a lot of reasons why you should consider Alton for a place to do business, and not only in tourism and transport or whatever you want, but also for manufacturing. It's all available.
Talk about this high-speed rail. Tell people what that is all about.
That is going to be a huge pickup for the Alton area. There's a couple reasons for it. It's a $13.8 million federal grant that will bring, I think you can look at it now, not only St. Louis to Chicago, but it's going to be Alton to Chicago. High-speed rail starts and stops in Alton. That project should be done in approximately 18 to 24 months to completion. Another thing that's exciting about it is not only will we have high-speed rail in Alton, it's going to give us a lot of infrastructure repairs in Alton, not only for the high-speed rail, but also in Homer Adams, which is one of our major thoroughfares and one of our bigger shopping districts in Alton. Plus, it gives us approximately 30 acres for economic development that will also impact our community. So we'll be able to develop that property along with bringing all the folks that will travel in and through the Alton area.
Here in the last 5 minutes, I always say when we get to the 5-minute mark, is there anything that you want to talk about that we haven't discussed so far?
No, just that Alton is a great place to visit. It's a great place to live. It's a great place to raise a family. We have, I mean, if you've been to Alton before, we have some of the finest restaurants in the St. Louis area. We have great entertainment. It's a tremendous place to live. We have beautiful housing, great architecture.
Got this beautiful bridge.
Oh,
there. I mean, that Clark Bridge is just stunning. For photographers, that's just a dream to go over there and photograph it.
The whole area, I mean, if you even just look across the bird sanctuary, across the bridge from us, the Great River Road, the Scenic Byway, all the parks we have in Alton, we have well over 1,000 acres of parks. You want to talk about quality of life issues? Alton has them. We have a tremendous park system. We're 20 minutes from downtown St. Louis. We're 20 minutes from the airport. And you won't find a prettier place. If you leave Alton, spend some time in Alton, look at the colors change up the Great River Road, visit some of our parks, you will not find a finer place to live in the city of St. Louis than in the Alton area or the St. Louis area, the metro area.
So over the next, say the next 24 months, What are you specifically as mayor going to be trying to accomplish?
You're going to see a lot of infrastructure repairs and a lot of park repairs, and I think you will also see, particularly in our downtown area, entertainment area, our amphitheater start to step its game up and make Alton more of a destination area for folks that want to come visit and enjoy the Riverbend area.
When you say infrastructure improvements, what's the status of your, when you say infrastructure, you're talking about roads?
Streets, sidewalks, infrastructure in our parks, definitely picking up what I would call your quality of life issues.
Mm-hmm. And here we got just a couple minutes left. I think that Alton has it's had such an enormous impact on this area. As a matter of fact, it was at one time it was a premier community before St. Louis was much of anything at all.
Yeah, one of the wealthiest, if not the wealthiest, areas in the country to live. And if you'll go through Alton, you can still see that past, which is, I believe, alive and well in our community, and it will be brought back.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. And going back to the very beginning of this show, when we talked about how you became mayor, have those, and you know, when there's all, you know, when you have a close fight like that for leadership, oftentimes there are wounds that are left. Has that been straightened out? Are people pretty much settled on, okay, we had this election and now we have a new mayor and let's go forward?
Absolutely. I think once we got in the office, I had some great communication with all the aldermen and alderwomen in the city. It's a clean slate. The city is where it is, and we're going to move it forward. It doesn't matter what happened in the past. This is where we are, regardless of how we get here or how we got here. How do we move forward? And the only thing that matters is how we move the city forward. Mm-hmm. Not only, for every citizen in Alton.
Do you envision Alton increasing its population over time?
Yes, I do. I believe with development over time, you will see Alton come back. As people start to see our perception change, as people start to visit our community, I think you'll see the development in our city of folks wanting to move back to the Alton area definitely increase.
And you mentioned about how you would like to see it become more of an owner-occupied community, mm-hmm. as opposed to, right now you said it's about half owner-occupied, half rent?
We don't know yet. That's an arbitrary number, but we believe that to be the case, yes.
Are there some methodologies that can be used in order to encourage that? I have a personal interest in that question, so just wondering what you're working on and how you're doing that.
Well, we're going to work on a kind of a registration for our landlords, so we can actually find out what's going on in the city and exactly what those numbers are. Once we address the real numbers of where they are, then we will implement some things to help our housing stock improve.
Great. Hey, thanks a lot for coming. You were actually invited on short notice, and I appreciate your being able to come here on short notice, but next time we'll give you a lot more notice because we want to hear more of how things are going in the Alton area.
I think we're going to have a lot of positive things to talk about next time, Mr. President.
Good. Thank you very much.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you very much.
And I've been speaking with Brant Walker. He is the write-in candidate who got elected as the mayor of Alton, Illinois. For those of you who are watching this on YouTube, this community has a lot of history. If you're going to be traveling into the St. Louis metro area, make sure that you check out Alton, Illinois. Thank you very much. See you next time.